Good afternoon, good evening, good day, ladies and gentlemen. No matter where you are today, whether it's evening, nighttime, or in the afternoon, we want to welcome you to another edition of our platform where we talk to interesting people doing interesting things. We currently have one of those interesting people straight out of Boston, is where she is, where we connected. And we are happy to bring Jamila B. Capitman. Did I tear the whole name up?
Jamila, yeah,
I
no,
said it right
it's
the first time, and
Jamila.
then I get on the camera and tear it up. Jamila, I know your name, Jamila. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we bringing you Jamila. Hey. Yes, yes, yes. And we want to thank her for gracing us this afternoon. She's a busy lady, and she took time this afternoon to talk to us about some of the things that she is championing, as well as some of the things she is a part of, because she's one of those people that do things in the community. So, first off, we want to, you know, big you up and give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the beginning of your journey in the space that we are in now with the cancel violence background. Talk go We want to go a little further back, and then we'll get up to cancel violence, and then what are you doing uh, upcoming with what you're doing with drama therapy. So we want to give a little history of you, so you can talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go on to your journey through the states, going from one state to the other, bringing what you learn to others to help them during times of trauma, basically. So we're going to leave it to you and talk a little bit about you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, so my name is Jamila Batts Capitman. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in Massachusetts. And I met you, Cedric, at the National Center for Afro American Artists, the museum, the Big Head Museum in Roxbury, at the Cancel Violence event. Cancel Violence is the exhibit that we currently have showing at the museum. One of my many jobs is I work at the front desk of that museum. I was hired just specifically for this exhibit as a consultant. And I was brought in to perform some theater as well, because I have a history of creating theater as a way of responding to violence. So back in 2009, 2008, 2009, I lived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I was a student at Temple University. And my partner at the time was a victim of gun violence. And luckily, he survived, but he was really affected by that. And I was really affected by that. And everybody who loved him was affected by that. Um, and I had been a graduate of the Boston Arts Academy theater program. So theater was sort of like how I stayed sane all through high school, all through the different kinds of changes that people go through when they're young. Theater was sort of like my thing that I grasped onto that kept me centered. And so when that happened, I used theater to cope. And I didn't even know at the time there was such thing as drama therapy, but I put out a call to artists in the community, spoken word artists in the community who were writing about topics related to, um, urban violence, so to speak. And we put this production together. And then fast forward now, however many years later, it just was really fitting. It went along with the cancel violence production, the cancel violence exhibit. So we did an excerpt from the play, and that's how I met you. You were in the audience.
Yes, and as a person in the audience, I was intrigued and really, and I wanted to engage you guys, and I wanted to see if there was a way for you guys to come out to this side of the world, and because that, I think it was powerful. I think it was like drama at its one of the finest things that we could envision, and then to use what you did, and the foreground, if people may not know, is a book, a novel. I don't even know if it's a novel, but it's a book and it's for colored girls.
Yeah. I know what you're
And I
talking about.
thought that
So,
was that is there similarities with the
yeah,
storyline
there's a
or
relationship, very
okay,
much
go
so.
ahead,
Okay,
talk a little bit
so
about that.
yes. So for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough by Ntozake Shange is a play. It's specifically a choreopoem, which is a form of theater that Ntozake coined, but it basically just means poetry and dance, poetry and movement. So choreopoem. And I loved For Colored Girls. I was first exposed to For Colored Girls when I auditioned for Boston Arts Academy. My teacher in eighth grade exposed me to that book, to the script, and that script has sort of just like stayed in my back pocket ever since then. Like that was always my go-to audition pieces. And the older I get, the more that script is relevant to me. So when I started to think about how I wanted to create a piece of theater, I wanted to pay homage, so to speak, to Ntozake Shange and do something like a modern version of For Colored Girls. And then what was so synchronous and special was that the theater that I ended up performing our play at, most often, we did about 12 different casts, like over 100 performances of this play back in Philly in the early 2000s. And the theater we did it at, Ntozake Shange had been an artist in residence in that theater when she was coming up. So it was a really
Wow, that's
special
dope.
full circle. Yeah.
And did you get a chance to talk or give this discussion to more states, or is it just Philadelphia and Massachusetts? And have you traveled this play?
Um, we were mostly in Philadelphia because, like I said, I was a student, so I was doing this play while also trying to get my bachelor's degree. So we were mostly in Philly, and then we did do a run in Boston one summer as well.
Okay. And I when you sent me your background and I'm looking at these letters after your name, I'm like LMHC? What I mean, what did I just discover? What break down those initials and let the people know, what is this LMHC and the background of the how you began in that field and what are some of the things that you're nurturing or that you're planting seeds in now with it.
So LMHC stands for Licensed Mental Health Counselor. So I'm a therapist. I'm a licensed therapist. I got a master's degree, and then took an exam and did all the things. Put in my 600 hours of internship. No, 3,600 hours of work. And I'm officially a licensed mental health counselor. So what I do like on a day-to-day basis is just sit with people and provide therapy, like talk therapy with people. And I got into this because I have had my own challenges with mental health, and did not really see enough people who looked like me when I was in the process of healing. I didn't see enough people who could relate to the things that I was going through. So a large part of what my journey was with mental health was related to like systemic oppression, and working in certain industries. And I was an educator, and I was like a youth development specialist, and I was working in a lot of predominantly white institutions, and I did not feel like I was being taken seriously. And I was bumping into a lot of like what I think is sort of like adjustment disorder, if I were to try to analyze it now,
Mhm.
on top of grief, of like recognizing, the sadness around what it means to be a woman of color working in predominantly white institutions, and just didn't have any support in navigating that. So then I realized that there was like a lane for people who wanted to examine the relationship between mental illness and racism. And like I said, my background was as an educator, but also as a diversity, equity, and inclusion specialist. So, yeah, so I felt like there was a space for me. And then I heard about drama therapy. I learned that there was such thing as drama therapy and that I could get a degree and a license if I took 2 years of school studying theater. and theater's relationship to mental health, and that sounded great. So that's why I ended up here.
Now that's sounds like there was some hills you climbed to get there. What were some of
Yes.
those challenges on this road? It sounds like it all sounds good. Gravy, potatoes, a little meat on the side. It all sounds really delicious. But what are some of the things that, we may not have heard you say yet about, maybe a challenge that presented itself in that area? You said, you know what, I'm pushing past. I know you spoke about the mental health piece, but were there other things that may not have dealt with the mental, but maybe a physical, spiritual, financial, some other challenges that you can speak of that, we won't be all up in your business like that?
Well, um, I think there have been a lot of challenges on all of those levels. I think what I feel like is important to say now for me is that just because I'm a therapist, just because I finally reached this goal of becoming a licensed mental health counselor doesn't mean that the challenges end. So, um, I'm learning every day in real time how to show up for people in this very specific role while still going through my own challenges, and also learning the importance of being mindful about what I share. Um, I always wondered, like, why do therapists practice this straight face, like you don't self-disclose. And then I learned the hard way about that because I had this is something I feel like I can share because I've talked about it publicly, but I had a partner who passed away suddenly, and I had always told my students, my clients who would ask me like, Jamila, are you in a relationship? Like, da da da. And I would be like, yeah, I am. Like, I'm in love. And then my partner passed away. And then I realized the image that these people have of me in their minds is based on what I've told them about my life. And my life is constantly changing, and everybody's life is constantly changing, and we're all constantly going through things. So I don't know if there's like a past challenge that I want to focus on, but I feel like I'm like wanting to be conscious of the fact that challenges are always taking place. And, just because somebody's a therapist doesn't mean that they have it all together, but it also, just because they don't have it all together doesn't mean they can't help you.
That's true too. And the thing that is kind of like a not really a play on it, but the idea that sometimes the helper needs help, and that's
Yeah.
all right. You know what I mean? And that's all right. And when you look for those helps, where do you go? Or do you go? Or you do it more? You start writing more drama? I mean, dramatic
Yeah.
pieces?
I
Or you start,
I
what
love
do
that
you do? Another
question.
play in the works?
I've been writing a lot more lately. Um, but I definitely lean on community. Like I have my own therapist who I love and adore and respect. Um, I have some really really wonderful girlfriends, like women friends that I respect and admire so much that and we all go through things in our relationships, but I feel like we're finally at an age where it's like, okay, these are the ones. Like, we're locked in, and that feels good because Boston's a small town. I grew up here. Like, I bump into people I knew in high school all the time. We all go through our drama, but I feel like we're finally um aged out of all that, and it's like the circle is set and it's beautiful. So I feel like very very
You
supported
have
by
to
my
return your call.
my family. I'm just gonna take a call in the middle of my interview. That's fine.
I
That's fine.
did-
That's okay.
My bad, son.
um
Go ahead. Go
who
ahead.
else, what else? But yeah, but also like, I'm with that being said, like I think opening my heart to new relationships is so inspiring as well. And like every time I meet someone new, I feel like I rediscover something new about myself. So I'm like continuing to find tools to deal with hard things.
Well, it's inspiring to hear that those that champion for others are also in need of sometimes those those blocks to help and support them. So that's a beautiful thing, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that with us and for the audience and that. the ideas engagement. So hopefully somebody will, maybe connect with you, and there'll be some type of engagement that comes from this interview, where some of the things you're looking for may present themselves, and you don't even know it. Just because you was on this platform, you might get a new client, a new, whatever the new is, a new road, a new journey, a new opportunity. And we're glad that we can present that to the people, and that you're willing and you're open to receive some things. Now, when people want to get connected to you, what's your, your thing that you use for your social media, so that way we could let people know what's going on,
My social media
or
is
however way people can connect with you in your mental health counseling capacity, or or if there's some other capacity. This is a show, everybody watches it, so what are some of the.
hi everybody.
That's right. Look at, Colgate is watching.
Um, can you yeah, so people can follow me Jamila LMHC. So my first name and then the letters LMHC on IG. And then I'm on Psychology Today. So if you are interested in becoming a client or learning more about my practice, you can just go to psychologytoday.com and type in my name, or Black therapist in Boston, Black woman therapist in Boston. I'm one of the ones that will pop up.
That's what's up. Now, when you get these opportunities and these sister friends and these networking things, what are some of the
Mhm.
things that you guys pull out of these? Why are you laughing? She chuckling. What are some of the things that make it yours, versus like if the guys do a men's symposium or something?
Hmm. I've never been to a men's symposium, Cedric.
They don't
So
really have them. I just made it up because the guys don't even come together. I just made it up.
I think that's an interesting question. I think what makes the spaces different. Like for instance, tonight at 6:30, I have a drama therapy group for Black women that I do in Central Square Theater. Every Tuesday night is a performance-based drama therapy group. And I think the truth is, having that shared identity creates a level of safety for women. Like I think there's all these different ways that people, all the intersections of identity. So being with Black people has a certain level of safety. Being with other interracial people has a certain level of safety. Being with women, there's just certain ways in which like we can let our guard down that unfortunately, I don't want to speak for all women, but unfortunately it's harder to do that. I think with men, there's just a level of like shared understanding about some of our experiences, even though we're all different from one another. Um, there's like a little tiny bit of like
The estrogen.
just yeah, you said that word to me the other day. Estrogen. Yeah, I guess. I don't know if that's what it is that we're sharing, but I'm
It's a
thinking more
bonding
about
thing, and I see it that it's like it don't matter. Y'all online in the supermarket, the parking and cars in the
I'm sure
parking lot.
I agree. I'm sure there's some kind of biological thing there. Like I actually agree with that probably on some level, but I think it's more cultural. Like I think what I'm talking about is systemic. Like unfortunately, we live in a society where patriarchy is still like the law of the land. So we are living with a little bit of oppression and stigma around our identities when we're in the same space as men. So when we can just be together, just as women, specifically like cisgender women, there's a shared experience. And I'm sure that there's something unique about our biology when we come together with all that estrogen, but I don't know enough about that to say.
Okay, well that's a good point. That you know even the helpers don't know everything, and they don't know how to pull everything out, but they have conversations to get you to the journey in these, whatever your maybe confusion or uncertainties are, or you just might not get it. You know what I mean? And what the thing that I like in listening to you is that you have a sense of knowing community, a vulnerability in your sharing, but also a uh, a fierce forceness, a force, because you've learned enough not to share. You know what I mean? You've been through
Mm,
something. You now know not to let people get too personal, and your clients look at you maybe a little different. Now, with family,
mm.
does that ever pop off? Is there people that you're around a lot that look at you and be like, you know what? She has it all together. And then there's family members who, is that a thing?
No, I
Good.
don't think my family look at me. I'm very open with my family, and I've
Okay.
become even more transparent with the people that I call family since starting the journey of becoming a therapist. First of all, because I've been healing in the journey, like going to school, learning about these theories has allowed me to let go of a lot of internalized stigma. So the people who I feel like I can be myself around, I'm very much myself, and I feel very, very safe and open and probably vulnerable with them, probably to the point where they're like, okay, Jamila, calm down, relax, too much. And I don't mind. It's fine,
Right. Right.
because I get to be myself with them. I feel like one of the things we talk about in drama therapy is like playing different roles. Like everybody has to play different roles. And I think the role that I play as a therapist is really different from the role that I play when I'm with people that I consider family.
Okay. We got some more questions for you if you don't mind before you head out.
I
Drama.
love hearing myself talk.
Okay, well, good. So we're gonna get a couple of more words out of you. The drama therapy classes that you do are the ones that you do like this evening are for women. Are any of your
Mhm.
classes, or have you done any classes that were co-ed, or just for guys, or did you incorporate guys, or your the idea of what you're doing is the healing of the woman versus anyone else?
No, I work with all type of people.
Okay,
I a lot of my work is with youth, and I've done workshops that are just open to community, like whoever wants to come. But this specific group is something that I started with one of my friends, Paige Cook, and we wanted a space that was really just for Black women.
okay. Now, some of the people you have sponsoring you, there's some formidable names. Do you want to talk about those relationships, whether it's with the city of Boston or with some of the other people that sponsored you guys at the Cancel Violence Initiative?
Um, well, I received a Boston Women's Fund Liberation Leaders Award in 2024. So that was like the most recent kind of sponsorship or endorsement. I don't know, I guess that I
Say that name
received.
again. Let the people know where you got these awards from because we want to know.
The Boston Women's Fund, the Liberation Leaders Award. And I received a couple grants from the Mass Cultural Council for some of the theatrical work that I've been doing. And then, yes, the city of Boston sponsored the Cancel Violence exhibit. So people should definitely go to the Museum of the National Center of Afro American Artists, the Big Head Museum in Roxbury, and see that exhibit. Um, that's about it. I don't know who else is sponsoring me right now. I'm
Oh,
sponsoring myself. I'm doing a lot of self sponsorship right now.
and how's that working out? Because on this end, we always looking for grants. We always partnering up with people. I'm putting in some this week, before next week, and I did one the other day. So, what kind of allegiances or people that you look for as far as caliber of a sponsorship or relationship building that you would look for, that you engage in, rather?
Well, I'm still sort of figuring that out. Like I've been self-sponsoring my own start to my private practice. And I take insurance. So hopefully people like individuals who are looking for mental health counseling have insurance that overlaps with the providers that I take and they don't have to pay anything. And in terms of like the creative and artistic things that I'm doing, I don't think I'm going to turn away any kind of sponsorship. I don't know. I haven't really been um feeling like I need to put any limitations on what kind of sponsorship can come in when it comes to the creative side of the work that I'm doing,
All
because
right.
I
Well,
think we can always use more funding.
yeah. Tell the people how to get engaged with you, so that way they may know somebody or know some organization for excuse me, a philanthropical event or people or something that you could get
Yeah.
involved in. Let them know
People
where
can
you at.
email me. Well, again, you can hit me up on Instagram, Jamila LMHC. And also my email address is jamilalmhc@gmail.com. So everything is Jamila LMHC.
That's
Yeah, just hit me up. And also Psychology Today. I feel like I'm on the radio now because I said it twice.
well, that's what we want people to understand. That sometimes, not that we got the GD section in here, but sometimes we got to make sure everybody's understanding. You know what I mean? If I had some sign language people, I have them do that too, because we got to get the word out. Because some of our people need to see someone like you to get their journey in effect. And whether it's a
Yeah,
male or a female, sometimes those allegiances and engagements can help out a lot of different people.
I
Last
appreciate it.
words from you, lady. Let us know what is next up. Where's the next thing? Talk to us.
Um, My last words for today. So I just want to say this is a really hard time of year for people. Springtime, people think that like, oh, it's happy, it's, the sun is shining, it's a good time of year, but it's this transitional season is when a lot of people, their mental health issues flare up. So you may be noticing that in yourself or in your community, and that's sort of like normal. The amount of light is changing. People's sleep patterns are getting thrown off, and also it's the end of the school year. A lot of people have graduation coming up, so I just encourage people to take extra good care of themselves during seasonal transitions, like during spring, fall, winter, whenever the equinox happens. A lot of times people's mental health issues flare up, so I encourage people to take care of themselves, and also like what else?
Whatever you want.
No know that you don't have to go through anything alone. I think that
Mm.
that is the thing is that we heal in relationships. So keep your heart open to connecting with new people. And if you feel like you need someone to talk to, find a therapist like me.
Hint, 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 hint.
I like to hear myself talk, but I also really like to listen. I'm only talkative when I'm the interviewee. I really enjoy listening to people.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the opportunity that we had and we shared with you today because, maybe we'll bring you back or hopefully you would want to come back and we'll have you in person maybe and we won't be zooming you in and remotely talking to you and we could see actually what it is, some of the things that you have done or are doing and, the people can some people just need to see things before they go and then they engage. So, I'm glad people got a chance to see you. I'm glad we doing it on this platform, and I'm hoping that people get into the help part of their healing and look for
Yeah.
help and don't just some cats go smoke a blunt, go drink a 40, or you know what I mean, go take a hit or something. You know what I mean? Some of that might be good for a minute, but then, we need to get some people out of that situation. And I'm glad you can be an alternative for those sisters out there. So we want to thank you for being a part of what we got going on here. And, you know what I mean? Have a great night. Enjoy your session tonight with your ladies at the drama therapy. And big up to you and yours. And y'all have a good night.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Cedric. Bye,
Have a good
everyone.
one. Yeah.